Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me. This is your host, Idjester, and today we're going to be looking at Tigers on the Hunt. This is a game that's being developed by Silicon Soft Systems and being published by Matrix Games and Slytherin Games. Be sure to check out more information on their websites. Tigers on the Hunt is a World War II infantry combat system game that is strongly inspired by the old ASL board game. So if you're familiar with that system at all, you'll be very familiar with Tigers on the Hunt. We had a really great live stream today and got to show all of our live viewers the editor and what it can do. And unfortunately, because of technical difficulties, that recording wasn't saved. So I've decided to go ahead and recreate our live stream for you guys so that those of you who missed out on the live stream will still get an opportunity to watch and learn about how to use the editor in Tigers on the Hunt. So Tigers on the Hunt is a World War II infantry combat system, again strongly inspired by ASL rules. It's going to be full released on February 25th. Again, check out the Matrix Games website or the Slytherin Games website to find out all the details about this game. Until that time, I'm going to be using a pre-released version of this game, so just keep that in mind. This is a pre-released version that I've been given to show off the editor. So things might be changed, added, deleted, altered, or whatever before the final release of this game. So just keep that in mind. So today, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to do is kind of rebroadcast here for you guys the live stream and basically teach you guys how to use the editor that comes with Tigers on the Hunt. First thing I should tell you is this is a full-blown editor. This is not a half-baked item. This is a full-blown editor, and you're going to get to see how cool and easy this is to use. So just follow along with me, and once you get the full-release game here, February 25th of 2016, be sure to enjoy creating your own scenarios and your own maps. So as we look at our our editor here, you see as we load it up, it kind of just defaults to a blank map here, and you have some other locations up here in the top right-hand corner. Of course, this is all the things that we're going to be adding to the map. Below that is our order of battle, where we're going to add all of our units to our scenario. And of course, up here in the top left-hand corner is all of our little tool boxes that we can use to use the editor. Again, this is a full-blown editor, and the designer did a great job of keeping everything organized, well thought out. It's not just thrown together at the last minute. This is a great editor, very easy to use. I want to show you guys how to do that. So first thing here, we're going to go up to our settings up in the top left-hand corner here, and you can see two very important boxes, the scenario attributes and the victory conditions. If we click on scenario attributes, this is going to let us determine how big an area we want to make for our map or scenario. You can see we can go from 1 all the way up to 3, and we can go, this is down, and then we can go over up to 4 boards here. So you can see we can have up to a total of 12 total map boards for one big massive map. Of course, what I'm going to do is just turn it on 1 by 2 just to show you some stuff here and get you used to the editor. The rest of the stuff we're going to look at, it's kind of important, but this is going to determine important things about our scenario. What units are going to, what countries are going to be participating in it, the different visibilities and stuff. Again, we're going to look at that in a little bit. But as I turn it on 1 by 2, you will notice we now have 2 map boards side by side. And in fact, I can go into the map section here and I can assign random maps to all sectors. So each one of these map boards is what they call a sector. So right now we have 2 sectors. We can assign random map boards to all of our sectors, and it'll just randomly choose the map boards that are in your maps folder and it'll just put two of them side by side. Now sometimes they work out great, like in this case. We got some nice stone buildings. We got some nice um, stone path or paved paths here, and these boards work really well next to one another. And sometimes, not so much. In this case, another good scenario here where we have all dirt roads and more dirt roads and kind of a country setting and stuff. So that's a great feature, is to be able to actually just assign random maps, and then you can scroll up and down just to find a location that maybe your scenario fits in. So it's a really easy way to do that. So if we bring up our maps here, what I'm going to do is show you what I've done here, and what I'm going to do is import a map into a sector. So what I've done is I've created a blank map, and I'm just going to import it into sector 1 here. And what I've done is just created just a blank map, and the only thing it has in it is the locations that the roads will be located on. So I know to keep all the boards synced up, all I've done was basically, if I was to just change the scenario attributes back to 1 by 1 here, you will see that this, now I know exactly where the roads should lead in and out, because obviously you don't want a scenario where your road is kind of going off in a different direction, and then you're going to have to try and match it up to other map boards and stuff. So that's what I've done, and I think it's a really easy way for us to go ahead and create a map from scratch, so I can show you how the map creation process works. So what I've done is I've taken the liberty to actually, again, going to import a map board into sector 1 here. I've actually created a map from our clear boards, and I put some roads on it, and I started filling in some buildings here down at the bottom half of it. And what we did during the live stream today was basically build the northern half of this board, and that's what I'm going to do for you guys now, so you can see how quick and easily that we can recreate and we can add and edit maps, which is a wonderful, wonderful feature. So again, over here in the top right hand corner, we're basically going to just select something. So what we decided to do was have kind of a river or a stream coming this way, and then kind of linking over into our little pond that's in this map board here, kind of in the middle. We got this wonderful little town down here in the bottom half of the map, and we're going to be using this map when we create our scenario in a little bit. So what we thought about was taking our little town here, making this the focal point of our scenario, and so that's what we're going to recreate for you guys here. So you can see up here in the north end of the map board here, we have pretty much a blank area, and all we're going to do is come over here and we're going to click on whatever texture or tile we want to add, and in this case we're going to add some water texture. And so what I'm going to do is click on the map and add it, and oh wait, nothing's happening. Well, there's basically two different modes that you have in map board. You have scenario mode, where you're going to be putting units on the map, and then you have paint mode, which is where you actually edit the actual map. To switch between them, all you do is click on the paintbrush here. You'll notice our little cursor turns to a paintbrush, and now we click on it, and you can see that we now have a wonderful little stream that's meandering down here and connecting up with our pond here. And so I think what we're going to do is have a little point that comes out like this, and maybe have a nice little building or something over in this location over there. Again, if we decide we don't wish to have this water, all we have to do is come back over here, click on this clear terrain, and I can quickly just remove it just as easily as I added it. But I think what we're going to do is go ahead and continue with the water. We do like the water, and I do like the fact that there's this little point out there, kind of little inlet in there, such as that. Alright, so now what we want to do is we want to connect our roads up here. And if we go to our dirt roads here, you can see there is a lot of different roads here. Again, the designer did a really good job of kind of organizing everything. You will notice that all the the low numbers here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, are all like one single road connections in different matters, up or down or left or right or across. And then from there we go down, and then all of a sudden we have 3 connection roads, and from there we have all the different formats we might need for 3 connection roads, and then from there we're going to get down into the 4 connection roads. So again, well thought out, well designed. All the different textures for the different roads are neat and organized, and all I'm doing right now is just I'm using my scroll button on my mouse to kind of scroll up and down. What I think we'll do here is just kind of bring down this road here a little bit and bring it down a couple, and then what I think I'm going to do is kind of just jut it out a little bit and come back. So let's go ahead and do that, and we just have to find the right map board. There we go. Alright, and then we're going to do something like nope, let's get the other one there. There we go. Kind of curve it around a little bit, and something like oh, I made a mistake. Well, again, to correct my mistake, I can just find the proper one and put it on there, or I could just click again and that will remove it. So we just have to find the right texture. Looks like we need one that kind of curves up from the top. You know what? Let's actually, nope, I think what we'll do is actually curve this one back around. Alright, let's go ahead and find it. There we go. There we go. Excellent. And now what we'll do is we'll scroll back up to the top and find our road that's going to connect over there. Here we go. So we got a little jut out, so we're going to put a nice building here. Again, all we have to do is find our stone buildings. Again, really well thought out, well designed. All your single buildings are together here, up in the lower category, and then you can see ones that are connections actually have like an A and a B. So we have part A, and then we have part B. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and see if we can find us a 3-parter. I'm looking for an ABC, so we'll scroll down until we find some ABCs. Normally these are all towards the end. So we got an ABC right there. Okay, let's see if we can find one that curves the other way. Again, I'm just using my little scroll button on my mouse. There's an ABC. Alright, so we'll put an A and a B and a C. Something like that. There we go. Alright, now I think it's always best for you guys to just put your road networks in first, because it's those are kind of the important parts, that kind of the backbone, I guess, of your maps. And then always put your hills in as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this section right here to kind of show you what I do with the hills. What I like to do is I always start off with my level 1 hill, and I'm just going to place all my level 1 hills in there as such, and you can see that, oops, yes, I know that's not valid, and you can see that they're all a different color. And then if I have multiple levels, I'm going to do the same thing. Hill level 2, and maybe this hill comes like this, and there we go. And then of course we can do up to level 4. In this case we'll do up to level 3. We'll just put this this middle 3 section as our highest level. Once I have my hill built, then I go back and actually change it and add in my woods and brush into that. So you can see if I wanted to put if I'm going to put woods as level 2, I'm not going to place woods on top of that, because the woods are just a level 1 object. So what I want to do is I actually want to select on the woods level 2, and this will actually put a level 2 woods there for us. And then I would do the same thing for level 1. If I decide I want to have some brush on level 1, I'm just going to use my level 1 tiles that I can see and just replace them with a few of the little brush textures. Now, as a pro tip, just remember that your boards are going to match up with other boards. If we were to go to our scenario attributes again and change it over there, and then what we're going to do is import a map into sector number 2. We'll just randomly choose this board here. You'll notice that we have this hill that now is butted up against another map board, and you notice our hill looks kind of out of place because there is no textures over here for a hill, so it's kind of been cut off prematurely. So just keep that in mind whenever you are designing anything like rivers or streams or anything like that that's going to be on the edge of your board. Hills are another thing. Whenever you put these on the very edge and you're going to be using multiple map boards, you can run into a time where it just doesn't match up very well, and then you're going to have to edit it, which is fine. That's why there is this great editor built into the game. Looks like we've got some road going over the water here, so what we're going to do is actually go into our paved road section. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom, and we're going to go to our paved road bridge, and we're going to choose a slant one, and we're going to put that on there so we have a bridge going across the river. And what I think I'm going to do is actually put another cross over here, and what I need to do is get our road to come up there. So again, I'm just selecting what I'm wishing to use up here, and you can see whatever object it is highlighted in blue. And so what I want to do is I want to actually extend this road out a little bit, and then I want it to curve, and then I want it to kind of come like that. And then of course I always like to have my roads kind of half a road that looks like it ends into a building like that. Then I think what we'll do, just to make it nice, is add, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. So again, just go back to clear, and then place in what we did want, which is our woods. We put a couple woods there. In fact, we'll place a couple other woods around here. And not to be outdone, we're going to actually put in a nice grain field over here in the top corner like that, just to kind of fill out the map a little bit. And you know what? Let's add in a little bit of brush. Nope, better yet. What we'll do is we'll have a nice little orchard field that follows this road along as it comes into this wonderful little town. They come down the orchard, they turn, and they come down this path, which is all orchard, and then they head into town. It's a very nice little thing. So what I'm going to do here is, so that's map editing, of course. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save our map, so that way I have this map to use later on. And the way to do that is what we're going to do. We're going to come up to our map section. And this time we're going to export the map from a sector. Alright, export the map from a sector, and you're going to choose which sector. Obviously we're working in sector 1 over here, which it kind of defaults to. This is sector 1. If we had a second map board in, this would be sector 2. Our third map board would be over here, that would be sector 3, and of course way over here would be sector 4. So in this case, sector 1, we're going to export it. Now, you want to make sure you're exporting and not importing, because if you import it, you'll ruin everything you have here. So we want to make sure we're exporting. What you want to do is you want to find your Matrix Games folder. You should have your Tigers on the Hunt inside that. And then inside that, you're going to find a folder called Maps. This is where you should save all your maps. As you can see, there's lots of wonderful maps that come with the game. And you can see that I've actually been a busy bee and creating a whole bunch of new maps myself that I can use for my scenario creations and for you guys at home trying to show you how to create different maps. So what we're going to do is we're now going to name this map. We're just going to name this map, we're going to call this live stream B, because it's not the actual live stream. This is just a recreation of what we did during the live stream today. And I'm going to save it. And I'm just going to click the save button. So now if I go back to my scenario attributes here and I tell it I want to have a 1x2 sector, it's going to place another board over there. What I can do is I can now import my map into a sector. This time we're going to choose sector 2. And we're going to choose our live stream B map and hit open. And there you go. There is our map that we just created. We have two of our same maps there, which is wonderful. So again, just editing and creating anything you want is just so easy to do. If you make a mistake, it's just so easy to correct. If I wanted to add some more buildings down here, if I don't like the look of this building, I can just literally select any other wood building and click on it. It's just going to replace it with that new building. Again, if I wanted to have multiple different hexes that have a building, I'm just going to look for ones that say ABC on them, so that way I know there's multiple parts to them, and you can kind of tell where they're cut off at. You know which way they're going to go. Obviously, A is going to go in a certain spot, then followed by B, then followed by C. You can add and edit maps as you see fit. So if we were to take, say for example, we're going to import a map again into a sector. This time we're going to do sector 2 again, because we don't want to have another one of our same maps. What we want to do is we want to import the wonderful map that comes with the game. It is map number 5, and there we go. So we have this nice little town down here at the bottom. It has a nice area of forest and some buildings that come in here, and these maps, really, you see everything lines up well together because I know where the roads are coming in and out of the map. Of course, you can design your maps any way you want. It's completely open. You can design your scenarios any way you want, which is a great feature. So we decided that we really liked this bottom portion of these two maps that are kind of combined together here. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a scenario based upon this location where the Germans have this town and the British units are coming in and have to take over the town, and there's going to be victory points located in there. So once we kind of looked at what we were doing here with this different map, we decided that there's quite a bit of open area here as the British come in. So to kind of help the British advance a little bit, what we're going to do is just bring in some more nice little buildings here to give them a little bit of cover and a little bit of area to get into here, so that the Germans don't get to just automatically just attack them unmercifully. So there we go. So that was a pretty simple addition here. And the other thing we decided was, and I should mention that every time you make some changes to your map, it's going to alter the flow of the map. It's going to alter, either make it easier for the attacker or harder for the attacker or the defender. How much of our location we're going to actually be using is going to be important, because you can see if I scroll all the way down to the bottom of this map, if the British players coming in along here, there really isn't anywhere to go except for over this way. If we include this northern road here and we let the British come in this way, the British now have two different avenues to attack from as opposed to one. So again, deciding on what's available and what's not available to your scenario. Of course, you can choose just use one map board. You can choose, again, up to 12 map boards if you wanted to. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to fix this up a little bit and get exactly what we want out of this scenario. The one thing we do want to do here is continue our dirt roads to make it a little bit easier. Get these roads to connect. So what I'm going to do at this point is just change this one over, and then we're going to add in some straights there, and then we're going to curve it back towards the bottom, and you can see how quickly and easily this is going here. You'll learn pretty quickly where the different buttons are, and there we go. So now, by connecting these two roads, again, going to make it a little bit easier for the British to be able to get his forces into the town. And I think what I might do here is go ahead and put in some brush here. Just kind of scatter around a little bit of brush here and there. And maybe a couple up here as well, just to kind of fill things in a little bit more. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Alright, so you can see just by how quickly and easily you can edit your maps and make them really, really viable. Again, we have this little half hill that we have, and if I wanted to create another half hill over here, it would literally only take me just a few minutes to do that. And I could just put these map boards together, change and add a part of a hill over here if I wanted to, pretty quickly and easily. I could have maybe those all up on the road, up on a hill like that, and do something like that as well. And you know what? Let's put a level 3. We'll put this as level 3, 3, 3, 3, and we'll make level 2 right. We'll put level 2 here, 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 and then of course once I do that, I'm just going to change it and make it a woods level 2. And maybe a woods level 2 over there, and then brush level 1. We'll put a brush level 1 right there, and maybe one right there. So you can see that I've taken two boards that really don't match up well together, and just with a few minutes just created them so that they do match up really well with the editor. It should be noted that when I'm doing this, if I wanted to save these two map boards together like this, I'm not going to use the map export feature. This is just for exporting a single map out. Okay. If I want to keep my two boards working together, oops, let's get rid of that because I have that in my thing there. Oops. There we go. So yes, the export map feature is just to export one of your maps so you can save it. In this case, if I have two maps set up together and I've decided, okay, I like these maps, I'm going to edit them, I'm going to create a scenario out of them. In that case, what you want to do is you want to go File, Save As, and you're actually going to save this as a scenario, not as a map. So I'm going to go to Tigers on the Hunt. Again, in the Matrix Games folder, I'm going to go into Tigers on the Hunt, and I'm going to go into the scenario folder, and then I'm going to name a scenario. We're going to call this test. Now we'll create something a little more live stream B scenario. Alright, you can see we already had a live stream A one. Well, I'm going to call this a live stream B. Unfortunately, like I said, because of technical difficulties earlier today, unfortunately, our live stream didn't get saved and recorded. So what I wanted to do was go ahead and recreate it for you guys that missed our live stream, and hopefully get you guys caught up on how to use the editor. And next time when we have our next live stream, where we're going to continue building our scenario, you'll understand what we had done in the creation process. So again, now we're going to create this scenario. We're going to live stream B scenario, and I'm going to click on the save button in the scenario folder. So if I actually exit out of this and I go back into the editor, again, I could bring up individual maps by using the import feature, but I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to click on the open button here, and I want to find our scenario, which is called live stream B, and I'm going to click on the open button, and there we go. There's our maps that we've created, and it knows it kept all of our changes. Remember the road we created here and part of our hill that we created over here. If I go to import or export these maps, it's going to save this map with that new hill on it all the time. So be careful when you're doing that with your importing and exporting of your maps. Okay, so that is pretty much map creation. Really, really easy to do. Really quick. We created this whole map board here. We have a brand new map board that we created. We can use that forever and ever. In fact, now that we can randomly assign maps to all of our different sectors. Oh, here's our map board. Oh, look at that. It shows our map board twice, actually. Randomly assigned. And you can kind of just, again, this is a great way for me to, instead of having to try and figure out which map board I want to use, what I can do is I can just, okay, no, I don't like that option. Let's try this. Nope, I don't like that option. Nope, I don't like that option. And I can, oh, wait, oh, this looks interesting. And then I can find a location for my scenario. Oh, yeah, this is looking really good. I like this right here, this whole area. They kind of flow well together. And then I can make my changes as I see fit. And then I'm just going to save it and I'm ready to go. So let's go ahead and import back our maps here. So in Sector 1, of course, we have our live stream B map. And then in Sector 2, we're going to import our map into the sector. In fact, the easier way to do that is just to actually open up our scenario again. Scenario, and scroll down to live stream B. And there we go. There's our scenario. All right, so now that's map creation 101. Very quick and easy. We're going to be looking at some more options we're going to be able to add to our map here as we work through our scenario. So again, the first thing we have to decide is what we are actually going to be using for our map here. Actually, this is not correct. Let's go ahead and import a map. I think I'm choosing the wrong map here. Let me look at map number 5 here. There we go. Alright, so there we go. That's the map I want. Alright, so now I just have to make a few changes to it just to get it working to our... Whoops. Again, when I click and I know nothing happens, it's because I'm not in the paintbrush mode. There we go. And I'll be able to have this done for you guys here in just a second. As I'm doing that, I can just remind everyone that Tigers in the Hunt comes out on February 25th, 2016, so 10 short days from now. If you guys missed our live stream, I'm recreating what had happened because of technical difficulties. We didn't get it saved, and I don't want you guys to miss out on the ease of the editor. And I want you guys to understand what you can do to create your own scenarios at home. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put another one right there. We're going to add in another building down here like that. There we go. We got some British forces, have a little bit of units. And then again, we're just going to add in a few things of brush here and there. There we go. Alright, so now we've decided that. Again, everything we make or change in our scenario is going to really affect the flow of where units can go, where units can't. Again, if we were to create a scenario like this, this is our top map board, you notice that we don't have a way around, and it's going to kind of force the British units to come all down here, which is going to obviously make it for the defenders a little bit easier for them to defend against a single attack. So what we decided to do was go ahead and allow the British access to these roads over here, but we don't want to use all this extra terrain up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go under our objects, and there is a playable hex and a non-playable hex function. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose the non-playable hexes. And all I'm going to do is hold my left mouse button down, and I'm just going to drag it across, and I'm going to paint out all of these hexes. That will restrict anybody from going into these hexes whatsoever. And again, I'm just holding my mouse button down. You can see how easy this is. There we go. And I can always change it. That's one of the best things about the editor is nothing's written in stone. I can change anything I want anytime I want. There we go, just like that. So now that is the northern edge, so the British units can come down this way, or they can circle around this way as well, depending on what they wish to do. And for our southern option, what we decided to do was just not include these two sectors down here. And there we go. And again, I can just switch it back to playable hexes to get rid of that hex that I put in there. And there we go. That's as simple as that is, making and editing where you want to have your units participate. If you had multiple boards or even a single board, you could have just half of a board if you wanted to do that, or you could have several boards laid out, but you only have a certain part of the boards you want. You're just going to paint in the fact that there are hexes that are playable and not playable. So really the only thing you need to do is just click on the non-playable hexes, and the rest of them will obviously be available. So there we go. So that's what we decided to do with that. Now, we were talking about what we wanted to do here, and we decided that we were going to have the Germans kind of defending the town here. And the British units were going to come in from over on this side and also from the bottom here, kind of a split force. There's a northern force and a southern force down here. And there's many ways to actually add units into this scenario. And the first thing we have to do is, when we're doing any kind of editing, is to obviously get rid of the paintbrush. So you can see I'm in paintbrush mode, and I don't want to be in paintbrush mode because I'm actually going to be working on scenario now. I think we pretty much got the map right where we would like. We have this nice beautiful little town to assault. We got some nice avenues. We're going to have some armored fighting vehicles. We have to make sure they can get around the different maps. So that's what we're going to do there. In fact, let's go ahead. I'm thinking about one other thing here. These shell holes, what I'm going to do here is actually remove these shell holes here just to clear up the paths a little bit for our tanks to get around. But I am going to actually add in some shell holes in other locations. Maybe a shell hole here, a shell hole couple here, maybe here. There we go. Anytime you make a mistake, you click on something, you're not allowed to do. Another great feature is a little pop-up window is going to come up and tell you, well, you can't click this because of this reason, blah, blah, blah. There we go. And you know what we're going to do? We're actually going to add in one wood rubble where we had a direct hit, and there it was right there. Boom, boom. Totally destroyed. Okay, so now we're out of paint mode. We're actually going to be working on the scenario. I really like the looks of this. Looks like it'd be like a really fun scenario. So we decide what we're going to do is have the victory point locations over here. We're going to have the British come in from the south and from the east there, the northeast corner. And all we're going to do is now assign units to come in. So you can do it one of two ways. You can click the OBB and insert, or there is a little button here, insert leg unit or insert AFE. So when I click on insert leg unit, you will see it brings up this nice little window here. And of course, it's going to have the German and the Russian, which it defaults to. Well, we don't want German and Russian, we want German and British. So what we need to do is go to our settings, and again, go back to our scenario attributes, and we're going to call this live stream, stream B, and we're going to make it so that the side that sets up first will be the Germans, and their attitude is hold. So the Germans are going to hold, and then what we're going to do is we're going to switch from the Russians, we're going to switch them to the British, and their attitude is going to be advance. You could have a scenario where both sides are advancing, and maybe you have victory points in the middle. You have one side coming from one side, and you have another side coming from another side. And then they kind of meet in the middle, and the first one to get the victory objectives. So you can have both advance on both sides. You can even have a fictional scenario, maybe where you have the British fighting against the Americans or something for some reason. Basically, you can create your scenario however you want. In this case, we're going to use the Germans, which are going to be hold or defending. They're going to set up first. The side that moves first is going to be the British, and they are going to advance. There is an option for only side B would go on the last turn. So in this case, right now we have it on 6 turns. I think what we're going to do is go ahead and change that to 8 turns from now. Our day visibility is unlimited by default. We're going to say that this is a kind of a morning, and we're going to drop the visibility maybe down to, say, 9 hexes or something. Let's do that. And of course, you can set the night visibility as well, and you can check whether or not it's a campaign game or not. So in this case, you will see a little message comes up because it had Russian units. It's saying, are you sure you want to get rid of all the Russian units? Yes, we are sure we want to get rid of all the Russian units. We don't actually have any Russian units assigned to there. So there we go. So now we've set up Germans as the defenders, British as the attackers. Now we just need to put some units on the map. First thing we're going to do is click on our insert leg unit, and it's going to bring it up. And you notice now we have German and British like we should. And we're going to look at the British side first. So the British side is basically broken down into 5 different classes of units. We have the airborne, elite, first line, second line, and the green squads. And of course we have a half squads for each of those as well. And then of course we have some leaders. Leaders go from the best being A down to the worst being D. And you notice some of these will have like a C, and then there's also a C with a little star symbol next to it. So the star represents how good of a leader bonus the leader is giving the unit. So you can see in this case a sergeant, which is C, is giving a moderate, a minor bonus, with a sergeant that has a C and a star is giving a better bonus. And as you move up the ranks, you can see we have a lieutenant, which is a B with 1 star, or a B with a 2 star. So that basically is going to determine how well of a bonus they're going to give your units, is by whether or not they have a star. And of course the rank A, B, C, and D represents their morale value and how well they lead their units. When we look at individual units, if we look at our squad unit here, we have airborne, elite, first line, second line, and green. We look at our elite units here. And then we have some options here. We can have them come in at any time during the scenario, but in this case, of course, we're going to just assign turn 1. And you will notice that there are setup zones. We have free placement, and then you can see we have all these other things. And what do these other things represent? Well, if I put them in free placement, I'm going to show you what these other ones are here in a minute. And then, of course, we have a couple other experience level for the unit: veteran, seasoned, average, and inexpert. So this determines how well they their capabilities in combat. And of course, the better they are, of course, the better they will act in the actual scenario. So in this case, we're going to take a squad that's an elite squad, and we're going to make them a seasoned. Maybe these guys arrived in Normandy and been fighting through the countryside of France, and so they have a little bit of experience under their belts here. So we'll give them seasoned. There's also stealthy and AI controlled. Stealthy. Well, let's look at AI controlled first. So AI controlled means I can assign it so the computer will always play this. So let's say we had the British forces maybe attacking from the north here, and we also had the Americans attacking from the south here, but we didn't want the actual human player to control both sides. We can actually tell the computer here with this AI control only to control all the American units. So the Americans would also be attacking, and then the player would have the British side, but he wouldn't have control over these units. Just a super cool little option to add in there. So free placement, so there's several different ways of, like I said, mentioning placing units on the map. So we have the free placement, and of course we have the Great Britain zones. If I choose free placement, you will notice that the squad is now listed as turn 1 here, and all the free placement. He's seasoned, and it gives him a nice ID number there as well, and tells you that he's elite. And notice it's not in bold. If a unit's not in bold, that means it's not actually placed on the map yet. If it's placed on the map, it'll actually give you a hex coordinate that tells you where it's at. since I decided that this guy is going to be free placement, if I was to start this scenario, this guy can start anywhere on the map, which we obviously don't want to have because we don't want him popping up here in the middle of the German defenses here. So anybody that is going to be free placement, you have to make sure that you put them on the map, or they can show up anywhere, and you don't want that to happen. And the way to tell whether or not they're on the map is we can just insert unit on map, and you notice my little mouse has now got the counter icon, and I can just simply click on it and drop it in there. And now you will notice it's got bold letters, and it also has a hex coordinate that shows you where it's at. So I don't have to worry about this guy popping up randomly somewhere on the map, which is obviously not what we want. The other thing we can do is we can actually go back into our paint mode here by getting our paintbrush, and we're actually going to click on setup zones here. We're actually going to create a Great Britain Zone 1. And what I'm thinking about is we're going to bring in some squads and some a vehicle and some other things over here. So what I want to do is I want to let the player decide how he wants to arrange his units over here instead of me telling him how to do it. So what I'm going to do, that's not what I want to click on. I want to actually click on Great Britain Zone 1, and you will notice we have Great Britain Zone 1 here, and I can do that all over the map, and there is Zone 1. They don't have to be connected. If I wanted to have a scenario where maybe we have paratroopers that randomly drop in areas, I can click on and just click on all over the map and say, okay, here, 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 here. And then any unit I assign to Group 1, before the scenario starts, the player can decide which one of these zones each of his units go into. So obviously we don't want to do that for this scenario, but that would be maybe come up in another scenario. So lots of flexibility in what you can do here in the Tigers on the Hunt scenario editor. Basically anything you can think of or dream up, pretty much we can create here. So you notice I left this area in the middle blank. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a Great Britain Zone 2. And the reason I left this area is I want the armored fighting vehicles to start here on the road. And if I just assign everything to Group 1, what could end up happening is for some reason the vehicles might start off not on a road hex, which would be kind of bad. They might get bogged down at the beginning of the scenario. So in this case what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select Great Britain Zone 2, and I'm going to place these 3 hexes right here. So when I assign the vehicles, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign them to Great Britain Zone 2, so that way I know that they will always start on a road hex and not get sidetracked by something else. So just a little pro tip for you guys there. So now we've got Group 1, and we've got a second group here. We're going to create our little northern group that's going to attack, and here's what we're going to do for that. So we've already created an elite squad here. We'd like to do, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 of these guys coming in here. And I hate to keep going back over here and recreating them over and over and over again. Well, you don't need to do that. All you need to do is click on the squad so it's highlighted in blue, like we have here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my OBB, and I'm going to clone that unit. And it's only going to clone the unit that I've got highlighted. So I'm going to clone that unit. And I'm just going to say, you know what, make 8 more of these guys. So we'll have 9 of them up here. Bam, look at that. All 9 of them are there. Now, with that, these units are all going to take the characteristics of the unit that we just cloned. That means it's placement type, which is free placement. It's season typed, which is in this case seasoned. And it is also obviously an elite unit, and of course it assigned itself an ID number. So now what we have is we have a whole bunch of units over here that we can place on the map. Unfortunately for us, what we did was we cloned a unit that basically we had put on the map, and that's not what I want to do. So what I am going to have to do here is, just give me a second, I'm actually going to have to remove these units, delete leg unit. There we go. Okay, so just going to click on it and delete it just for a second here. Because what I want to do is actually assign these units into group 1. And remember, we cloned the unit that was free placement. We don't want that. So we just have to delete the ones here. Again, I'm just clicking on them and deleting them. Apologize for that. Anyways, we had a great live stream today. In case you guys missed it, I decided to, because of our technical difficulties, we were unable to record that episode, and I didn't want you guys missing out. Only 10 days to release. I want you guys to understand how the editor works and have some a look at what you can do with it. Alright, so now what we want to do is actually come back in here and assign our British. We want to go with an elite. We want him to come in turn 1. We want him to be assigned to Zone 1. And we want him to be seasoned. And now, you will see this will be Group Great Britain Zone 1. And now what we need to do is just clone this guy. Clone unit. And we're going to make 8 of them. So now when the game starts, if you're the British player, you're going to be able to sign these 9 elite squads anywhere that is Zone 1, which happens to be these 8 hexes here and these 3 hexes down here at the bottom. The other thing we're going to do is do the same thing, but we're going to do it with a vehicle. So we're going to insert an AFV, and of course we're going to choose British. And you can see there is a nice massive list of all the different vehicles that we can choose. And I think we decided to go with a Cromwell 6. Again, it's going to come in turn 1. If we free placement, we can put it on the map ourselves. But in this case, we've already created a zone for it. So we're going to change that, to Great Britain Zone 2, so it's going to come in one of these 3 spaces depending on the player's choice. And the same thing, if we wanted to, we can clone it if we wanted to. In this case, I think what we're going to do is we are just going to allow it to come in over there. Alright, so what we do now is let's get some leaders. We got 9 squads here. We'll create 3 leaders, so the same thing. We'll go to British. We're going to go to C. We're going to have them come in Zone 1. Thank you. And we're going to make them seasoned as well. And just kind of average guy. There we go. And we're going to clone this guy. We're going to make another one of him. There we go. Another one. And notice when I scroll over now, you see all these units are still in Zone 1 here, so we're going to have 9 elite units plus 2 leaders, and what I'm going to do is give these guys one more leader over there, but this time I'm not going to clone him because I'm going to make him a little bit better than the other guy. I'm going to give him a B leader, and again, Great Britain Zone 1, and this time we're going to put him as a veteran. He's been in the war a little bit longer, got some extra experience. He's now a lieutenant, and we're going to say okay there. And again, you want to make sure that all your units that are not bold, you want to make sure they are assigned to a zone. If you do not make sure they're assigned to a zone when you start the scenario, the computer is going to randomly put them in any hex on the map, and we don't want that to happen. Alright, so now let's look at actually assigning units to a spot. So we've got a southern force down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on our leg unit, go to British, and in this case, these guys aren't quite as experienced, so we're going to make them a line squad, and we're going to have them come in turn 1. And then we're going to keep them as free placement, okay? And we're going to give them as average. So we got these guys that just They just got in the war. They haven't really done much, so they don't have much experience. And so that's what we decided, this group down here. Now notice when we look at this guy here, he has free placements. So you notice he is not bold, so he can be put anywhere on the map. We know we don't want that, so all we have to do is insert the unit on the map, and bam. So when this scenario starts, this guy will be fixed to that location. He will be stuck there, and he will always be assigned there. And you notice now he is bold, and so we know that he's actually on the map. If I don't like where he is on the map, all I have to do is click on the button here, click on the squad, and delete unit on the map. Notice it did not delete the unit. It did not delete the unit, it just deleted him off the map. Insert him on the map, click him, delete unit from map. Again, it doesn't get him out of the OOB. All it does is take him off the map so you can reposition him. So let's insert him once again on the map. There we go. Now, if I clone this guy, so we're going to have a few of these squads here. And again, OOB, clone the unit. And we're going to copy and we're going to make 5 more of him. Again, when we clone somebody, we're going to take the exact characteristics of that unit. In this case, these characteristics are, again, free placement, so we've got to make sure we actually put these units on the map. So we're going to click on them, insert, and we're actually going to create a few different groups of guys here. We got 3 different, so we've got 2, 2, 2. And of course, you see they're all bold as well. Now, we've put some units on the map. We put some, let's put a AFV on the map. It's pretty much the same process. Insert AFV. In this case, we're going to choose the British. We're going to choose, let's go with the Sherman 2C. Turn 1, free placement. We can actually have it immobilized if we wanted to. And again, we can keep it computer controlled if we wanted to. In this case, we're going to leave it as free placement. We're going to click on it and insert it into the map there. Now, anytime you insert a unit onto the map, an AFV, what you should do is click on it, because you can see this green arrow points out which direction it's facing. So what we want to do is click on the Sherman, and we want to actually rotate it so that it's probably facing the direction it needs to go. So there you go. So now it's facing this way. If you just leave it as default, what will end up happening is the player or the computer will have to actually start the vehicle up and spend some movement points to actually rotate around before it can actually get going. So, I mean, that's something you can look at doing if you want to do that. So there we go. We got that unit on the map. Notice it's in bold again. This unit's not in bold, so I know it's not on the map. And you can see that it's actually got in its zone assigned to it. Okay, so let's give some units some actual weapons to fire as well. So what I think we'll do is we'll add in, we've got a nice northern squad here. What we're going to do is actually add in some British. We're going to put in a couple half squads. First line again, and we're going to make them seasoned again, and we're going to give them zone 1. And they are right there. And what I'm going to do is actually clone this guy, and we're going to make two more of them. There we go. So now we've got 3 half squads that can come in here, but these half squads, what we're going to do is we're actually going to give them some weapons. So all we have to do to assign them a weapon is click on them, so they're highlighted in blue. Click on this support weapon box up here at the top, and you will notice we click on it, and we have all kinds of really cool things. We can give them mortars, AT rifles, a Piat, a flamethrower, a heavy machine gun, medium machine gun, light machine gun, all kinds of great things. So what we're going to do in this case We're going to give one guy a light machine gun, and notice that indented in here that shows that this half squad now owns a light machine gun. And this squad, we're going to click on him, and we're going to give him a we'll give him a medium machine gun. Sure. All right. And then the left half squad here, click on him. We're going to give him Piet. There we go. So there you go. You can see that indented in shows any weapons they have. You're basically going to do the same thing for the south end here. If we wanted to give a unit, what we're going to do here is we're going to switch to British, we're going to switch to crew, and we're going to choose free placement. And this is, where did he go? Here he is, right there. And I'm actually going to insert this unit on the map, and we're going to put him right there in the grain, and we're going to give him an ordnance. So you can, I have to select him first. So I'm going to click on him, select him. Oh, I'm sorry, you got to do that over here. My bad. Where did he go? Where did he go? Crew. There we are. Now he's selected. There we go. And you can see all kinds of nice different things we can give him. We can give him mortars and AT and artillery, AA. Just depends on what you want to do. In this case, we'll just give him, say, maybe a 3-inch mortar. There we go. We'll give him a 3-inch mortar. And there you go. You see the mortar automatically assigned to him. And you notice he is now bold as well. So we have a crew. A crew is going to get ordnance, and then your squads and half squads are going to get your support weapons. And again, units that are bold here in our order of battle are units that are actually on the map. The units that are not bold are going to be units that are going to be free placement unless you assign them a zone. So you want to make sure, again, each of them are assigned to a zone. We would do the same thing, obviously, with the British forces over here. What we decided to do in our live stream about this is actually create our victory hex location values. So in this case, the game pretty much lets you do anything you want with your scenario creation, which we've talked about. This is a full-blown editor. I believe they use this editor to actually create the scenarios in the game as well. So this is the full-blown editor, quick and easy to use, very intuitive. You should have no problem at all creating any scenario of your dreams. What I'm going to do here, we've selected our victory hex value. Again, I'm going to click on the paintbrush because we're going to paint these in. And what we decided to do was take this building right here, and the British forces are assigned with assaulting. This is like a SS headquarters here, and there's a bunch of French prisoners located in this building here. So what we're going to do is the British objectives. Objective number 1 is to assault the headquarters of the SS and get all the plans of all the different locations for the German units in the area. And of course, once we do that, it's going to ask us, okay, assign a value. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that this is worth 5 points. And we can leave it neutral, or we can assign it to a certain nationality. In this case, we're going to assign it to the Germans because it's their headquarters here. And you notice that we now have this little location marker on here. If you don't see that location marker, you need to click on this third button over, which shows whether or not you see the victory point locations on your map. So I have that turned on, so you should be able to see that. Second thing we need to do is decide, we decided on this building here. Again, we're just going to click on it, This is another value of 5, and we are going to assign that to the Germans. And so this is worth 5, and this is worth 5. And then we decided that this location here was worth 1 point. Of course, it's German held. And then we're going to have some airdrop supplies that the British need to get so that they can resupply their units. So we decided to, up here in the north end, click on this victory hex right here, and this is worth 3 points, and it's neutral, so nobody owns it right now, and you can see that it actually shows a question mark. So with these victory points in mind, we can now go back into our victory conditions, and we can take a look at this box here. So this is how we're going to set up who wins or loses in our scenario. And we can assign the points however we seem fit. So for the Germans, if they hold on to, they don't really care about the British supplies. They want to hold on to their headquarters, they want to hold on to the prisoners, and they want to hold on to this spot. So that's 5, 10, 11 points. So they win if they hold on to those objectives. All right? And it's a major victory for them. If they were to hold on to, say, 2 of these objectives, the 2 main objectives, which is this and this one, we're going to assign that as 11 points. I'm sorry, 10 points. So just these 2. If they lose this building here, it's kind of a little blow to them, but it's not the end of the world, I guess. A draw is if they were to hold on to one of these 2 objectives. So this is 5 and this is 1, so that's 6 points. So a draw for them is 6. A minor defeat is if they only kept 5 points, which would be either this building or this building. And a minor defeat is going to be if they have 4 or less. So they have to at least keep one of these 2 locations. Now the British side's a little bit different because they have these supplies. Now of course the Germans can come out here and grab these supplies. They grab that hex, which is feasible, and they're going to get 3 points unless the British take them back. So the British side is a little bit different because they need to get these supplies to help them. So they need to get this objective, and they need to get this objective, and they need to get this one. So for all of them, there's going to be 5, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's going to be 14 points for a major victory. They need to get all of them. A minor victory is going to be getting everything except for the supplies. Maybe the Germans keep that location and they just worry about getting the prisoners and the SS headquarters and the secret papers over here. So that is 5, 10, 11 points. So a minor victory, we're going to assign as 11. A draw is if they get their supplies, they get one of the locations, and they get this. So that's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points. A minor defeat would be them only getting one of the locations and their supplies, so that's 8 points. And anything 5 or less is going to be if they are only able to get the headquarters or the prisoners, that's going to be a major defeat, only getting one of those. Of course, you could assign points to units being lost. You can assign victory points, exit locations for units, and they would get points based upon getting people off the map board as well. And again, just pretty much any kind of scenario you can think of with side objectives, with locations, with exiting units off or killing specific units, you can create. And there we go. So now we've started working on our actual victory conditions. We go back in here, you can see axis controlled, and of course neutral for that, and it shows you the values. And we can go in and adjust these anytime we want. We made some bunch of changes to this scenario. So again, what I want to do is file, and if I clicked on save because I previously saved it, you can see the name of it down here in the bottom. It's scenario name livestream B. So I can just click on save, and what it's going to do is overwrite our other file with this one. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that and save that. If we go back into our scenario attributes again, now we can kind of fine-tune our scenario a little bit farther here. We can use either side can have off-board artillery. Each side can have up to 2 of them if we wish to assign those. And we have to really decide about our scenario length and our visibility and figure out if we're assuming our units are over here, and we know how far a unit can move in a turn, and we're talking specifically about squads and not so much vehicles. About the end of the first turn, they could be here. The second turn, they could be there. They have a couple turns of engagement. Then they can move up here. That would be about turn 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm thinking probably about an 8 or 9 turn scenario to get them from here over there. You don't want to have the attacker do nothing but move, because if they do that, then their firepower is severely diminished. I mean, if you had a scenario like that, it'd be interesting, but it would be very hard on the attackers because they would have to constantly move. So we can just basically kind of figure out how far they need to go, how much time they're going to have to be spent fighting and breaking through the defensive lines. Hopefully there's multiple different avenues to get around in different ways, and in this case, because the map board we set up, there is multiple ways to get to different locations. As opposed to having a single board, a lot of times on a single board there's not as much maneuverability, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So what else are we looking at here? So we can obviously turn on and off the units here to show our different things. We can turn on and off for victory hexes. We can actually go into hex ownership and show which units own each hex, but in this case we're not really worried about that. We're just worried about victory points here and not who owns which location. So we already showed you how to import and export maps. There is an export and import big maps, okay? But you have to be at least 3 by 4 for it to be considered a big map. And in that case, if you were to create a map board that big, you can export it as one big map board, which would be awesome to have a huge scenario like that. So again, your file options up here to save and load your different things. So again, just to make sure, I'm going to click on the save one more time. And so if I actually exit out of this scenario and bring it up again, hopefully it will still be there for us. So I'm going to file and I'm going to click on the open button here, and I'm going to go to the Matrix Games folder, find the Tigers on the Hunt, and find our scenarios folder, and then find our live stream B scenario. You can see the game at right now. Again, I'm using a pre-release version of the game, so this may be altered before they actually have the full release here in 10 days. But right now there's at least 25 awesome scenarios in there. Right now we're just looking at scenario number B, which is the one we just created, and we're going to open it. And there is our scenario with all of our information that we've been working on and everything saved for us to continue working on our scenario. So I guess that is probably where we left off on the live stream pretty much at that point. We need to finish this scenario up on our next live stream and kind of show you some more stuff about actually creating the text file for the information you want to give the player when he selects this scenario. It comes up with a nice little description of the battle. The information talks about what sides are fighting, how long it is, how many map boards are being used, if it's a city or rural area, if there's special rules or anything like that. We need to create a text file for that. And a few other minor things that we need to finish up, setting up in our scenario attributes, and explain different dates and stuff. And so that's kind of where we left off in the live stream. Again, I apologize because of technical difficulties. We were not able to actually save the live stream, so I've decided to basically recreate what we talked about in our live stream for those of you who are unable to attend. And I didn't want you guys missing out because the editor has been a great addition to Tigers on the Hunt. And as we know, any game that comes out nowadays, if it has an editor that allows you to create and make things in the game for yourself, that's just going to be exponentially make the game that much better right off the bat. And because the developer of the game actually gave us an editor that is a full-blown editor that's easy to use, I feel that being able to create scenarios, as you've seen with my map boards here, when I import a map from a sector here, you can see I've only had this game for a short time, and I've been able to create many different map boards. It is a lot of fun to do. It's very intuitive, very easy to do, and creating scenarios. Again, if I open my scenario folder here, you will see I've actually got quite a few different scenarios that I've created. I've got Assault Over the Bridge, I've got a Revenge for Bruno, we've got our live stream scenario, and I believe there's actually another one somewhere that I think I saved into a different folder, but you want to actually save all your scenarios in the Matrix Games Tiger on the Hunt scenarios folder. So lots of scenario creations. I think just being able to create with this wonderful editor any scenario you can possibly dream up. Again, you can have you can actually have the Russians fighting the British, and you can have the U.S. fighting the Russians, or any combination thereof. You can have random locations for where units show up. You can have meeting engagements where both sides are attacking. You can have just victory location for units that get off the map board. You can have an actual scenario where the only objective is to kill. The only way you're going to get points is by killing the enemy tanks or the enemy leaders. Maybe you specifically want to create a scenario where the Germans have a leader that's, we'll just call it a sniper, but it's a leader counter, and the British have the same thing, and you have to kill the opponent's leader to get victory points. So anything you can possibly think of. I'm just throwing things out as I just think of things. If there are many scenarios that you recreated from your heydays of playing Advanced Squad Leader, and you remember some scenarios very fondly and you want to recreate those, this would be a perfect opportunity for you to do that, to be able to go back and relive some of those scenarios that you have played once before. Create those scenarios and then play them. Send them to your friends. Post them online for other people to download and enjoy. So that's about all we did in our live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Again, my name is Idjester. Thanks so much for checking this video out. Again, this is Tigers on the Hunt, World War II Infantry Combat System, strongly inspired by the old ASL board games. If you are familiar with ASL, you will be able to pick this game up and play it very, very quickly. If you are unfamiliar with ASL, you've never played it whatsoever, you will still be able to pick up this game and play it very reasonably in a short amount of time. There's not a very big learning curve. A lot of the rules that kind of bogged down the ASL system aren't incorporated into this game mechanic, and because a lot of the mechanics are done by the computer, you just need to focus on your battlefield tactics and your strategies for completing your objectives for the scenario, which is one of the best things. So again, we'd like to continue this up at our next live stream. Hopefully we'll not have an issue with it being unable to be recorded. Hopefully next time we'll get that recording for you. But this was just a recreation of what we did on our live stream, making maps, showing you how to use the map editor to make maps, how to bring maps on the board, how to edit them, how to save them, how to export them, don't save them, export them, how to import maps into different sectors. And again, if you're looking for just some map boards out there, you can assign random maps to different sectors. Just really easy to find different locations like we did here that are going to be wonderful little playthroughs for scenarios that you can create. And we just started looking at how to assign units to either placement on the map or to free placement and actually assign them, or to assign them to different zones. And then we just started looking at how to assign support weapons and ordnance, which I don't think we actually covered in our live stream. So you've got one up on the live stream. I'll have to cover that again during the next live stream. But we're going to work on getting the rest of our British units. We're going to get the rest of our German units set up. We're going to finish this scenario and then maybe give it a whirl and try. Thanks so much for watching. Again, this is your host, Idjester. Until we meet again, thanks for watching our video, and we'll check you out next time on Tigers on the Hunt.